Now it's smack dab in the middle of the night, and our hero's feeling bummed that nightlife in this backwoods world is non-existent. People here hit the bed early unless they're up for clapping some cheeks. Even though he could easily bring someone over to liven up his night, he's got morals and won't stoop to anything sketchy. Out of the blue, someone sneaks up on our hero from behind. He spins around to find a woman in a robe singing his praises for handling the ambassador with brains, hinting the prince isn't all about the party life after all. Turns out she's an assassin, but our hero doesn't waste a second before trying to dash out of the room. The woman throws her dagger, stopping him in his tracks, and reassures him she's only here to chat, telling him to chill out and not panic. The boy stops dead in his tracks, especially with that sharp dagger staring him down, and asks the lady who she might be. She drops the bomb that she has no name but goes by Nightingale, a nickname her sisters gave her for some weird reason. She's surprisingly grateful for our hero's recent care towards witches. When the prince takes a closer look, he notices an emblem similar to the one the old man showed him, which belonged to the Witch Association. The lady gives him props again for his sharp mind, while our hero presses on, asking if she's here for Anna. He admits he has no clue how she knows about Anna, but still reassures the women that she is still alive. The lady nods, saying she already knows that much, and points out that even if she was killed, the Witch Association wouldn't appreciate meddling in politics by killing a prince just because a witch was killed. But she's quick to warn him not to underestimate them. The boy reassures her once again that Anna's doing well. The woman casually replies she already knows, and she's also aware of the other girl named Nana. Then she gives him the creeps by casually dropping that she's been spying on him for the past 2 weeks, keeping tabs on his every move, which really gets under our hero's skin. Because let's face it, this idiot did not have a single clue if he is being spied on. She gestures for our hero to come closer, assuring him she has no intention of harming him. Reluctantly, the boy sits before her, sensing no ill intentions. But then the woman gets uncomfortably close. Noting he's different because he shows no fear towards her or any other witches, she inches even closer. The prince steps back, half-jokingly telling her to keep it PG, not wanting YouTube to slap age restrictions on the video. The lady finally withdraws her hand and gets straight to the point that she's here to take Anna and Nana. The boy immediately refuses without hesitation, insisting they're happy here and safe under his watch. But the lady argues they'd be safer with the Witch Association, where they will be treated like family by every member. But the boy keeps pressing on, noting that the Witch Association doesn't even have a fixed place to call home. He mentions how his soldiers stumbled upon one of their camps hidden in a forest about a month ago, and the tracks led north. However, in that direction, there are only endless mountains. The lady defends their choice, saying they're based in desolate mountains to stay safe from outsiders and dangers. But the boy isn't convinced, bringing up the lack of basic necessities there that would make life difficult for the girls. He also remembers what the old man told him about the association's goal, which is to gather all witches and find the holy mountains, where witches can truly be safe. He asks if the lady has the same goal in mind. Cryptically, the lady responds that she can't give him an answer. This annoys the boy further, as he insists he won't let the girls live in such barren lands where only demons could thrive. That's when a light bulb goes off in his head, catching the lady totally off guard with what he says next. He invites the entire Witch Association to come to Border Town for the winter, looking all pleased with himself as he tries to convince her it won't be much trouble to wait until winter passes. The lady reminds him that while the prince may not fear witches, the townsfolk will likely freak out. Plus, the church will pounce the moment they catch wind that witches are staying in Border Town. But our hero is adamant, and wants to show everyone that witches aren't evil, especially if they help the town get through the tough months of demons. The lady then mentions another reason why she wants to take both ladies, especially Anna, who's almost the coming of age. Of course, this point sails right over our hero's head until the lady confirms he heard right. She explains that most witches awaken around the time of the months of demons, or when the gates of hell supposedly open. Basically, coming of age is a witch's final stage, and a woman who hasn't awakened her powers by 18 won't ever become a witch. Once a witch comes of age, during the months of demons, demons take over their minds, causing unbearable agony. It feels like something's trying to burst out of their bodies, straining every vein and tendon to the limit. If they survive, they'll recover after 4 or 5 days, but for those who don't, it's a brutal death. That's why witches are seen as the devil's spawn, and their horrific deaths, mixed with church propaganda, make people think they're possessed by demons. The boy then asks what happens once they hit adulthood, to which the lady explains that their powers will stabilize and often get even stronger, with some even picking up new abilities. Our hero questions how valid this all is. Old records claim that witches find eternal peace on the holy mountain and are spared from demons consuming their minds. The lady admits there's nothing concrete about the holy mountain, it's only mentioned in texts. Taking her to headquarters might slightly increase her chances of survival. If witches could live freely without being hunted, the demonic attacks would be way less severe. The boy realizes that Anna and Nana are key players in his big plan, but he's worried about putting them in danger if he goes ahead with it. He quickly agrees to let the lady take Anna if she's up for it. As for Nana, he decides to wait until tomorrow to talk to her about it. The witch is delighted to hear our hero's wise decision, but when he summons Anna and asks her about it, she immediately declines, saying she's not going anywhere. This shocks both adults, and the woman tries to reason with her, explaining that she can sense the demonic energy building within her as she nears maturity. She reminds Anna about the whole puberty talk she had with our hero earlier. Anna then reminds our hero how he promised her an ordinary life, but she couldn't care less about anything because all she wants is to stay by the prince's side. She's confident that the demonic energy won't stand a chance against her, and she's determined to survive the months of demons and conquer her puberty. The woman sighs and decides to give up on convincing Anna, but she makes it clear she'll stick around to watch over her until she experiences her maturity. She thinks Anna is just a naive kid who doesn't understand the dangers. Of course, our hero doesn't like the idea of her keeping a watchful eye on him for the rest of the winter. Anyway, before the woman disappears, she comes face to face with Anna and talks about the hardships she's seen and the friends she's lost, vowing not to let Anna suffer the same fate. With those final words, she bids farewell to our girl and vanishes into thin air without a trace. Seeing her abilities totally blows our hero's mind. He's amazed by her assassination skills. Once they're alone, the boy gives Anna a reassuring pat on the head and tells her to hit the hay as it's already pretty late for her. The next day rolls around and our hero greets the citizens of the town with a cheery, "Good morning." He gathers everyone for an important announcement. He explains that almost 4 days ago, the ambassador from Longsong Fortress visited him to collect the already mined ore. However, everyone should remember that a month ago, the northern mining quarry collapsed, and production hasn't resumed since then. The community immediately panics because the last output was only half of the average, and they had to endure starvation and a lot of crap from Longsong. He then exposes the Longsong Fortress hideous act, saying he tried to get a loan and supplies from the ambassador, but the guy shut him down hard, just like 2 years back. People freak out again, fearing starvation once again. He reminds them of the time when food was so scarce that many lost family, siblings, kids, and more. He asks them how long they want this cycle of loss to continue. The crowd starts begging him to save them, and he nods positively, swearing he won't let his people fall into that pit again. After a dramatic cough, he drops the bomb, which is that 2 months' worth of mining would have bought them enough food for almost a year, but those Longsong jerks never played fair. The whole crowd starts to seethe at Longsong Fortress for taking advantage like that. So, our hero explains that he traded his stones for a bunch of food from Willowtown, enough to keep everyone fed through the winter. Just as folks start celebrating and feeling relieved, he puts a pause on the party vibes. He reminds them that cutting ties with Longsong means they're committing to sticking it out in Bordertown for the winter. That news sets off another round of worry, but the boy quickly shifts gears, reminding everyone about the wall they're building. He boosts their spirits by saying demons aren't any tougher than the beasts in the forest and won't be able to scale their wall no matter how hard they try. Then he gives them a choice: either seek refuge to starve in Longsong Fortress or stand with him to protect their families. He asks if anyone's up for joining him on the wall to fend off monsters, promising good silver coin rewards for those who help out. And if the worst happens and someone doesn't make it, he pledges 5 golden coins to their family. The whole crowd gets fired up by his speech, and suddenly everyone's geared up to face whatever comes their way with determination and grit. The atmosphere in Longsong Fortress is lively with laughter echoing through the entire castle. People seem to be having a good time poking fun at our hero's decision to stay put in Bordertown and build a wall. One guy, sporting a solid mustache, jokes that our hero would probably stack some rough rocks together, throw in some dirt and mud, and call it a day. He is sure that eventually our hero will come running back to Longsong, and they can further exploit him when he's desperate. However, the leader of this committee doesn't seem to dismiss our hero as lightly as the others. He asks for the ambassador's take on the matter. The redhead, bewildered at first, mentions that their original plan was to maintain their monopoly as usual, and as long as they purchase ores from our hero at 3 times lower than the market price, it's a good deal for them. But our hero has other plans. He's not just looking to sell the ores to only Longsong fortresses. He's willing to cut the price of ores by half, aims to stimulate higher demand and thereby increase overall production capacity and revenue for Border Town. This approach is a strategic move to foster economic growth and sustainability in the region, and because of that price cut in ores, the Longsong fortress will be able to earn much more than they earned in the past. Additionally, he intends to manufacture iron tools, which he believes will fly off the shelves no matter where they were sold, making an additional stream of income. However, those aren't the only things to think about. If our hero can hold off the demons at Border Town, it's good news for Longsong too. They won't have to keep dealing with those pesky beasts every year. Plus, the throne squabble is only 5 years long, so if Border Town flourishes afterward, Longsong could end up with the kingdom's 3rd biggest slice of land. The red-headed guy suggests that Longsong should pitch in to help our prince build the wall and defend Border Town. He figures it'll pay off in the end. The old man agrees with the redhead's practical sense but calls it typical merchant thinking. To this white-haired fellow, it's not about whether Border Town succeeds or fails. He just doesn't want to share his turf with anyone, prince or not. The next day, Chief Knight's face was priceless when he laid eyes on the contraption our prince had been tinkering with. True to form, he showered all the credit on Anna, who'd helped with welding the metal parts. The prince couldn't contain his excitement over his latest creation, which is a steam engine. He hugged his beautiful invention tightly, seeing it as the first step towards ushering humanity into an industrial revolution fueled by a new energy source. 5 minutes later, the knight still looked baffled, trying to wrap his head around how the machine worked. When Anna fired up the furnace below, the cogs and gears started turning, and soon enough, the wheel began spinning faster and faster. Watching the mechanical parts move left the knight completely awestruck. It was his first glimpse of the natural power the prince had been talking about, which is a force equal to the strength of 10 knights combined, and this innovation promised to save a ton of manual and animal labor. Training a knight took 15 years, but building a contraption like this stove only took 3 days. The knight found it fascinating that it didn't need feeding, didn't care about weather, and was impervious to arrows or blades. Seeing this, he started to wonder if traditional knights were even necessary in a world with such machines. The boy was totally stoked to see his farming game jump forward by a few hundred years. Later that night, our hero swung open his bedroom door and found the assassin lady once again, deep into studying the blueprints he'd made. He gave her a bit of a hard time for spying on him and just waltzing into his room unannounced. But the lady just chuckles, pointing out how the 4th prince was rumored to be a total flop with a lousy personality, yet his inventions were master class. She wondered if those blueprints were for the stove he'd cooked up recently, but the boy was feeling kinda down and out, watching her toy with his secret plans he had kept locked up tight in his office. Seeing her impressed, he attributes all of the credit to Anna once again, and explains that the machine could be used for anything needing a lot of muscle, like getting stuff around or making stuff. The lady smiles upon hearing this, and lets our boy know that she'll be keeping these blueprints, since there are many witches in the association who can make good use of firepower. As she tucks them into her robe, the idiot's eyes accidentally drift over her cleavage, and he stumbles over his words in embarrassment, telling her he didn't give permission for that. She just smirks and says she already has something as payment, tossing a document at him she pulled from her chest. The boy eagerly grabbed it and tore it open, only to find it addressed to his servant Tyre. The letter sternly instructed Tyre not to repeat the same mistake and was ordered to eliminate the prince during the months of demons. The boy's mind races, recalling how Prince Roland used to exploit her whenever he could, and our hero feels deeply unsettled by these memories. The woman then tells him she snatched it from one of the pigeons, mentioning there wasn't any signature on the letter, but she thinks it might have been sent by one of his siblings. So she asks if he's cool with her digging deeper to find out who's behind these orders. He gives her the go-ahead, and she strikes a respectful pose, saying she'll be taking the blueprints as payment.